Did you know that in October 1962, the world came closer to nuclear war than ever before? The Cuban Missile Crisis was a tense 13-day standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union, sparked by the discovery of Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from American shores. President John F. Kennedy demanded their removal, leading to a nerve-wracking showdown. The crisis ended when the Soviets agreed to dismantle the missiles in exchange for the U.S. secretly removing its missiles from Turkey. This close call taught both superpowers a crucial lesson about the dangers of nuclear brinkmanship, shaping the future of global diplomacy.
The 7 Years' War, fought between 1754 and 1763, was a global conflict that reshaped empires. It began in North America but quickly spread across the world, involving major powers like Britain, France, Austria, and Prussia. The war's key battlegrounds spanned Europe and North America. In North America specifically, the war was known as the French and Indian War, where British and French forces clashed over control of territories. In Europe, Prussia, led by Frederick the Great, battled a coalition of Austria, Russia, and France, emerging as a major power. The war ended with the Treaty of Paris in 1763, redrawing the world map. France lost most of its colonies, and Britain emerged as the undisputed colonial power for the rest of the century. The effect of the war are not to be underestimated, as it led to important events like the American Revolution that still shapes the world to this day.
The fall of the Berlin Wall was one of the most important events of the 20th century. The wall, erected in 1961, split the city of Berlin in two, the east under Soviet control and west aligned with the United States. The wall had by that point become a symbol of the Cold War. During this time, over 100,000 people attempted to escape across the wall, with many losing their lives in the process. But on November 9, 1989, everything changed. East German officials announced that travel restrictions would be lifted, allowing free movement between East and West. Thousands of East Germans rushed to the checkpoints. Without orders to stop them, border guards opened the gates. The wall, once a symbol of oppression, was torn down by the very people it sought to divide. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked the beginning of the reunification of Germany and the end of the Cold War. It remains one of the most powerful symbols of freedom and unity in modern history. The American Civil War, fought from 1861 to 1865, was a defining moment in U.S. history. The conflict arose from deep-seated tensions over slavery, state rights, and economic differences between the North and the South. It all began with the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860. His anti-slavery stance alarmed Southern states, leading them to secede and form the Confederacy. The war officially started on April 12, 1861, with the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter. The war was brutal, with over 600,000 soldiers lost their lives in the conflict. In 1863, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, changing the war's purpose to not just preserving the Union, but also ending slavery. The North eventually overwhelmed the South, resulting in the war ending on April 9, 1865. The Civil War reshaped the United States, leading to the abolition of slavery and setting the stage for the country's modern era. The Great Depression, beginning in 1929, was a global economic crisis that shattered economies and left millions in poverty. It started with the stock market crash on Black Tuesday, October 29, 1929. Banks collapsed as people rushed to withdraw their savings, leading to a widespread financial crisis. By 1933, U.S. unemployment had soared to 25%, with millions losing their jobs, homes, and life savings. The crisis wasn't just confined to the United States, however. It affected countries worldwide, leading to political instability in places like Germany. In response to the crisis, President Franklin D. Roosevelt implemented the New Deal, a series of government programs aimed at economic recovery. The Great Depression finally began to ease in the late 1930s, but its effects were felt for years to come, shaping the future of global economics and politics. The Franco-Prussian War was a conflict that reshaped Europe forever. It started when tensions between France and the growing power of Prussia led by Otto von Bismarck, boiled over with the EMS telegram. France, under Emperor Napoleon III, declared war on July 19, 1870. But the Prussians, allied with German states, were ready. Their military was efficient, well-organized, and quickly gained the upper hand. In September, France suffered a crushing defeat at the Battle of Sedan. Napoleon III was captured, and the Second French Empire crumbled. By January 1871, Paris was under siege, and on January 18, 1871, at Versailles, the German Empire was proclaimed. The war ended with a decisive German victory. The Treaty of Frankfurt forced France to cede Alsace-Lorraine to Germany. This war marked the rise of Germany as a major European power and set the stage for future conflicts. In 1789, France was on the brink of collapse. The country was deep in debt, and the people were starving under King Louis XVI's rule. The common people, known as the Third Estate, had enough. They demanded equality, liberty, and an end to absolute monarchy. On July 14, 1789, revolutionaries stormed the Bastille prison. This event marked the start of the revolution. The revolution brought forth radical ideas. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen proclaimed freedom and equality for all. But the revolution turned bloody. Thousands, including King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette, were executed during the Reign of Terror. By 1799, the revolution ended with the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte, who would go on to reshape Europe. The French Revolution forever changed France and inspired movements for democracy and human rights across the globe. In 1866, a short but pivotal war erupted in Central Europe, the Austro-Prussian War, also known as the Brothers' War. But why did two German-speaking powers, Austria and Prussia, turn against each other? The seeds of conflict were sown in the struggle for dominance over the German Confederation. On one side, Austria, the historic leader of the German states. On the other, Prussia, a rising power under the shrewd leadership of Otto von Bismarck. In just 7 weeks, the Prussian military, armed with new breech-loading rifles, outmaneuvered the Austrians. The decisive Battle of Königgrätz sealed Austria's defeat, shifting the balance of power in Europe. The war ended with the Treaty of Prague. Austria was excluded from German affairs, and Prussia emerged as the dominant force in the newly formed North German Confederation. This victory paved the way for the unification of Germany under Prussian leadership. The Protestant Reformation, one of the most pivotal moments in history that reshaped religion and the modern world in just a few decades. In 1517, a German monk named Martin Luther had enough. He saw corruption in the Catholic Church, especially the sale of indulgences, where people paid to reduce punishment for sins. Luther wrote his 95 Theses, challenging the Church's practices and sparking a movement across Europe. Thanks to the printing press, Luther's ideas spread like wildfire, reaching thousands and igniting debates. Others, like John Calvin, joined the cause, pushing for further reforms. They emphasized the authority of the Bible and salvation through faith alone. The Reformation led to the birth of Protestantism, dividing Europe between Catholics and Protestants, and setting the stage for centuries of religious conflict and change. Today, the effects of the Reformation are still felt, with countless Christian denominations tracing their roots back to this transformative period. The 16th century saw a huge shakeup in Europe, the Protestant Reformation. But how did the Catholic Church respond? It's called the Counter-Reformation. The Catholic Church didn't just fight back, it reformed itself from within. The key moment? The Council of Trent, held between 1545 and 1563. The council reaffirmed Catholic beliefs and cracked down on corruption, like the selling of indulgences. They reformed how priests were trained and emphasized strict discipline. A major force? The Jesuits, founded by Ignatius of Loyola. They spread Catholicism globally and improved education, becoming defenders of the faith. The Counter-Reformation also strengthened the Inquisition, and the Church's index of forbidden books aimed to stop the spread of Protestant ideas. The Counter-Reformation helped the Catholic Church survive and adapt, shaping Europe's religious landscape for centuries. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.